Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is January 20th, 2025. There's no limit to the good that we have been doing in the world, nor the good that we intend to do in the world. We have found each other for 1,222 broadcasts. Thank you, Penny. Over the last almost 5 years, it's good to see all of you. Adele and Arlene, Bob, Lisa, Anya, Linda, Carl and Peter, Boker Tov. It's good to see all of you. I hope that you and yours are safe and well. Today is many things, including Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Today is also the second day of freedom for three wonderful people that we have been praying for. We're going to talk about all of it today, but first let's make sure we say hello to each other. Ron, it's good to see you. Deborah and Cecile, Jerry, Arlene, Barbara, Deborah, Jack, Haley, and Janice, good to see you. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Minna. All right, let's take a breath, sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Here we go. All right, friends, it's good to see all of you. It is really, really good to see all of you. Today is a different day. Today is a good day. For all of its complications that any day carries, today has enormous good. Today we celebrate Romy Gonen, Emily Damari, and Doron Steinbrecher, who are free. They are free because of countless people, most of all their families, most of all the Hostage and Missing Families Forum. We as UJA have been supporting them and supporting them and supporting them, and we will have more work ahead than we realize, because the healing is not just physical and it is not just mental, it is spiritual, it is psychosocial, it is also so pervasive in the Jewish consciousness. It's not that everyone has the same thoughts. There is debate about the costs of these deals. There's no question that the arithmetic is absolutely horrific, but we will not miss the moment to celebrate the freedom of these three young women. And we will also not in any way slow down in our efforts, nor our vigilance, nor our prayers, nor our deeds to release the remaining 95. There are 95 human beings still in captivity. Please God, most of whom are alive. And we will not just hold our breaths and wait. We will act with passion. Today is a day where we read Parshat VaEra about Revelation, and it is a day that we mark the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. It might be other things too, but those are the two that we're going to talk about today. And so, what I want to make sure that we do is we learn a little bit of Torah, and then we learn from the gorgeous model of Martin Luther King Jr. But before I do that, and because we are authentic in our Jewish experience, not only must I point to the exuberance of the friends and family of Romy, Emily, and Doron, and countless others gathered in Kikar HaTuvim, Hostage Square, lifting up journalists and saying Shechianu on air as part of the moment that these three beautiful souls were brought back into freedom. But it is important to also talk about how hard this is, because in the ways that this is hard, we also must be present. Not only because we recognize that 95 souls are still being held captive by monsters, but also because in this deal, which we must support, is the release of some monsters too. I remember my friends Matt Eisenfeld and Sarah Duker, of blessed memory. The man who killed them in February of 1996 was set free in this deal. He was a rabbinical student, and she was a wonderful Jewish educator who worked at Camp Ramat Nayak. And they were on a bus in Jerusalem, and a terrorist blew up the bus. Marla Bennett, my friend, and Ben Bluestein were at Hebrew University at the Frank Sinatra cafeteria, where I ate every lunch when I was a student at Hebrew U. They were killed by a bomber in July of 2002, and the mastermind behind that was also released. In March of 2011, the Fogel family, parents Ehud and Ruth, and three of their children, Yoav, Elad, and a 3-month-old daughter, their murderer in March of 2011 was also set free. And Ari Fuld, a very, very good human being, his killer was also released. I have watched Ari's brother Hillel write on social media that for all of the pain of this release, there is also joy. His grace in the way that he reports it, that he shares it. To see Rachel Goldberg Poland's interview just this morning is a way of being inspired by what humanity can hold, the pain and the joy. And so I say today, with renewed passion for our people's safety and spirit, may the memories of Matt Eisenfeld, Sarah Duker, Marla Bennett, Ben Bluestein, the Fogel family, Ari Fuld, and countless others, may their memories be forever a blessing. May their life force animate our vigilance on behalf of our people, and may we never, ever, ever forget the costs of freedom. May we celebrate Romy and Emily and Doron without any hesitation. May we celebrate every hostage that has been freed. May we fight for the remaining 30 in this first phase who are to be released. May we fight until the final one of the 95 human beings held by terrorists is released. And may we never let the world forget this. Never. The appalling misrepresentation of all of this is something we are going to fight. But we will not let go of our joy, and we will not forget the pain. We will fight for our freedom. And the language for this is both in our Parsha and in the modern prophet, Martin Luther King Jr. May his memory be forever a blessing too. In this week's Parsha VaEra, we hear the story of Moshe talking with God as things are getting harder before they get better. They get harder before they get better. Listen to the opening of Parshat VaEra. Vayedaber Elohim el Moshe. God spoke to Moshe, saying, I appear to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov as El Shaddai. That's the part of me, the aspect of me that I showed them. But I did not make themselves known, did not make myself known to them by my name Adonai, Ushmi Adonai lo nodati lahem, which is so strange. It's so strange. The Parsha is saying that God says, I didn't show them the part of me that we call Adonai. Except in the book of Breshit, the book of Genesis, there are many times that God appears as Adonai, the four-letter name of God that we don't pronounce out of sheer reverence. But there is a reason for this. It's not that we know the only way to read the text, but there's a reason for this. I, God, showed part of me to your ancestors, but there's more. I want to say that to all of us. I, God, showed myself to your ancestors, but there's more. There is more divinity. There is more holiness awaiting this world. It is up to us to be agents of liberation, to show the contrast between Kikar HaChatufim Hostage Square last night, for us last night, for them last night, for us midday. I'm there, so I don't know what time zone my heart lives in. Hostage Square was full with tears and laughter and prayer, solemnity and celebration. And the split screen that I'm sure some of you saw, what was happening in Gaza was a mass of masked, uniformed, gun-wielding terrorists shoving 3 hostage women with Kalashnikovs everywhere. The contrast between our culture of just wanting our family home, fighting for our babies and our grandparents. Who's on the list of terrorists to be released? Terrorists, murderers. If not every terrorist on the list is the extreme evil that I've pointed to. Who is on our list? Hostages, children, babies. There had better be more God ahead. Goodness, values. The fight for freedom is not a gentle one. And I am going to resist my rageful urge to dehumanize our enemy. But I cannot help but point out the difference in the values embodied in those images and embodied in the lists. How did Martin Luther King Jr. retain his language? How did he? He said, this is a beautiful collection of his writing, selected by his wife, Coretta Scott King. Freedom has always been an expensive thing. History is fit testimony to the fact that freedom is rarely gained without sacrifice and self-denial. When evil men plot, good men must plan. When evil men burn and bomb, good men must build and bind. When evil men shout ugly words of hatred, good men must commit themselves to the glories of love. Where evil men would seek to perpetuate an unjust status quo, good men must seek to bring into being a real order of justice. Amen. Oi to the pain of this necessity. But Dr. King was a model of noble, language, and deed. There comes a time, he wrote, when people get tired of being trampled by oppression. There comes a time when people get tired of being plunged into the abyss of exploitation and nagging injustice. He wrote about his time. And I'll just read his statement about freedom specifically for the Black community. He died so young. What would he say today? What would he be saying today? He wrote, "Our freedom was not won a century ago. It is not won today. But some small part of it is in our hands, and we are marching no longer by ones and twos, but in legions of thousands, convinced now that it cannot be denied by any human force." I won't appropriate the words of the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His words were targeted, of course, to all human beings, but specifically to the great work of civil rights in the United States. Human dignity for the Black community as sisters and brothers, all created in the image of God. But his language also embodies the notion of Jewish dignity and wholeness that I believe is the definition of Zionism and Jewish self-determination. What is it to dream for 2,000 years, Liyot Am Chofshi Be'artzenu, to be a free people in our land? It is to say that for 2,000 years, we were subject to the whims and decisions of kings, queens, czars, emperors, granted equality and citizenship only if we renounced our nationhood, our peoplehood. If Judaism is only a religion, we were told in France during the Enlightenment, then you can be a full citizen. You just have to be French first and Jewish second. And we now say no. The definition of Zionism is dignity on earth for the Jew. And just as we must see ourselves as beacons of light in the world and conduct ourselves as such, as we do, with incredible beauty and honor, so too must we be willing to receive the light of other sources of wisdom. Dr. King was one such source. His language about what human beings can accomplish, and his method of not giving in to the militarism that is also present in any fight for freedom. That is something for us to hold dear, to commit ourselves to again and again. We must be skilled at defense. That is a tragic reality. But we must also understand that fighting for human dignity means fighting with dignity. And in the years ahead, in the months ahead, in the days ahead, in the moments ahead, we have to be part of the light. Part of that means, by the way, making sure that when we amplify things on social media, we must amplify the good too. It's not interested, the algorithms are not interested in calm nobility, but we must be. The world might continue to misrepresent our heart and our home, but we must represent our heart and our home with authenticity, with light, with beauty, with hope. We must share images of Jews who've been waiting for their family members for 471 days, lifting up the journalist who's just there to cover the story, dancing the horror with her, and saying Shechianu. Yes, of course, Jonathan. We have to be all the things we are. There are harsh things in this world. We face them open eyed, grounded with both feet on the ground, ready to do our work. If anyone modeled that, it was Dr. King. But we have to make sure that on this 472nd day of war, we remember what we're fighting for. We will not let down our guard until that blessed day that we can. May it come soon and in our days. We will fight until the very last of our 95 beloved hostages are home. But we have to make sure that we also hold our joy aloft. That's what we're fighting for our babies and our grandparents, to have joy, to be held, to be loved, to be seen, to be known, and of course to be witnessed. Just yesterday, I was blessed to attend one of the films being shown at the New York Jewish Film Festival, a biopic about the great Elie Wiesel. And it opens with a quote, that those who are witness to witnesses themselves become witness. A witness has the responsibility to carry everything they have seen. We will. We have seen some joy too. You are witness to that. Today, let us recommit in the name of all of our teachers and for the sakes of all of our descendants and in honor of all those magical, wonderful, prophetic voices we lost, including Martin Luther King Jr., to being sources of light, dignity, and honesty. That's our work. That's our work. So on this 472nd day of war, that please God will end. Hold on to the 95 with me. Celebrate the 3 with me. Send your heart to the east and let it feel the beginnings, the stirrings of healing. Be witness to the whole thing, including the possibility of things getting better. Because after all, God says to Moshe, I revealed El Shaddai aspect of me. El Shaddai, the God of nurturing. I revealed that to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, to your ancestors. But there are parts of me that even they didn't discover yet. If that is true then, and God is infinite now, how much more divinity there is to share, to feel, to manifest, to love. Say with me before we sing Hatikva, bring them home now. With faith, with passion, with love. Kol hon balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima Ayin letzion Sophia Od lo avda tikvateinu Hatikva bat shnot alpayim Liot am chofshi be'artzeinu Eretz Zion וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.